Good morning. So I decided to actually go forward with trying to cut my own pottery wheel top. I wasn't really happy with how it ended up yesterday with the grind, or grinding down the other one that I found from Goodwill. So what I've done is I've measured my aluminum block, and I'm currently in Fusion and trying to just get the stock set up in there, and then I'm setting up like a basic circle. And I'm also eating fig bars, and they're delicious. They're fig bites, actually. Alright, so I'm still hacking away at this. I decided to go with circular in the cam options, but in order to do that you have to actually extrude or have a surface. So I'm just going to make this the depth of my piece, 0.75 inches. And then now I'm going to go back to cam. I'm going to try this again. So I've selected circular from here. Nice. That looks way better. Alright, so let's publish this thing. So I'm going to do, I have the post processor set up in my cloud options they're made, and I'm gonna export. So this is the 1/4 3/8 inch windmill. So a while back I made this aluminum plate, or made sort of an extension for the table so that I wouldn't drill directly into my table, but I screwed up the drill holes. They're not quite aligned properly, but I'm going to use 2 of them, so one right here, one right here, and it seems to be holding pretty tightly, so I think it'll be fine. But anyway, this is going to help me to mount this somehow. Still haven't quite figured it out, but that way I don't cut into my table when it dives down even deeper to cut all the way through. So I decided to, I'm going to use this as my mounting plate. It's a 1032 thread that I want on these things, so that's what I'm going to go for. Alright, now it's time to drill. Decided to be lazy and just drill the holes that are going to hold this thing. Now comes the really time-consuming part, tapping the threads. We'll see. Alright, so I've tapped about 12 holes. It definitely take me the rest of the day and probably tomorrow to tap the rest of them and drill the rest of them. So I'm just going to tap and drill as I need them. I think this is good for holding down the plate that I have now. Alright, I got it mounted. It's going to be really close because the The wheel is going to be 2.5 inches. So, I don't know. Going to be really close to hitting the fixtures. Alright, so it looks like the offset's wrong. So I need to go fix that inside of AutoCAD. Gotta take a break and go get Kate. Not sure if I'm gonna actually finish this thing today. We'll see. Having a bubblegum dum-dum. Pretty delicious. Anyway, back in the garage. It's like 20 degrees outside. It's freezing. I don't think I'm going to do much out here. But I am going to conclude yesterday's episode with the function generator. Definitely not going to finish that today. I do have it mounted, which is good. And I also figured out how to fix the origin point, so it should be working in Linux CNC tomorrow. So now to the function generator. Alright, so I have this speaker that I collected from a salvage run. Not quite sure where it came from. But I'm just going to take and hook up a JST connector to it. Forget what this one's called. Pretty close to a JST, but not quite. Well, just lost it. Anyway. That way I can test out the waves on the speaker and see what happens. Alright, so I've tinned the leads on these. You said I was stick them together. Right from the start. Oh, that was a pretty poor connection. With you I would fly in a special place. Cruising the sky and out to space. That's better. And then so the instructions say you definitely want to put it in the right way. So I'm guessing the notch portion goes to the top as the indicator says here. Looks like the legs are bent a little bit. I've tightened up, need to get my mind loose. Turn those down. Slip into the right mood. Nice new rhyme, still the type to stride till it's getting. Don't want to destroy it. I'm so good at destroying things. Looking for trouble, love might find you. Speaking of which, my new oscilloscope kit should be coming in. I'm gonna give it another go. So yeah, I don't have an oscilloscope at the moment, so I'm just gonna test this with a speaker. I'm just pressing this on the board here to bend the legs down a tiny bit. Wait. And my head starts to spin as I see you with him. Do you see me standing here, an empty soul with no idea? Cause I still feel your head on my shoulder. On my shoulder. Alright, the IC is locked and loaded. Need to get my 9 volt. Have a little dip, slip about the other day. 2 amps. Nice new rhyme, still the type to stride till it's getting light, smile and surprise you. No fires yet. I might do. Looking for trouble, I might find you. I might do. Maybe I like you. Maybe I might do. A voice JST connector came off. Maroon eyes. Had to resolder that. To move wise. Alright, let's try this again. Right out of sight like the night that confused my noise is coming out. Blue till the two twine move too true to conclude. Sounds like a sine wave. Saying you might move, tell me you might do something you couldn't choose, but the dudes like you. So maybe we're getting noise because I haven't used the right jumper. Alright, unplugging. Gonna jump number 1 for sine. Okay, now let's try. Just kind of playing with the amplitude. Still pretty much the same. Alright, let's try the other jumper. we get anything more interesting. It's probably not going to be very interesting until I get an oscilloscope. Might be due to this crappy speaker too. Alright, one more thing. Well, sorry guys. It's gonna be a pretty crappy demo here. Well, it's just not doing much at all. Well, anyway, made some noise. I don't know if you were able to pick it up, or the camera was able to pick it up, but looks like we're just gonna have to wait until I get the oscilloscope. I think I will go ahead and try to build the box though. Might as well. Doesn't really have instructions for the box. Guess you guess this is intuitive enough. Seems intuitive enough. So close, so close. Almost. Finagling. Alright, well. Seems like it's on there. See if we can actually get this thing through there. Hey, look at that. That also doesn't fit all the way through. Well, bummer. Is it due to my shoddy soldering? Weird. Maybe it'll just screw. Well, definitely looks pretty cool. Alright, let's try this again. There's definitely no way that I'm going to be able to get a nut in the back of it. But if they actually just screw into the plastic, it might be fun. Hopefully the plastic doesn't crack on me. Seems like they're holding pretty well. Any other way I can put it in there? Seems like they just screwed in without the nuts, which is fine for me for now. I'll get some longer screws for it eventually, or not. There we go. Project complete. Pretty cool.